Today we'll go through homework 5.7, and this is transformations of polynomial functions. So we're going to take a look at f of x first, and then we'll look at g of x. Basically what's happening is we have a function, and it's going to get translated or transformed, and it can either go left or right, it can go up or down, and then we can stretch it vertically, or we can stretch it horizontally, and then we can even reflect it over the axis. So the first thing we're going to do is graph each function, and we're going to describe the transformation. X cubed goes to x cubed plus 3. So we need to rewrite g of x so that it has the x grouping. So here's the x cubed and then plus 3. Now it's easy to see that the plus 3 is on the outside of the grouping, so it is not impacting our x and our x grouping, it's impacting the y side. So the y-axis here runs up and down, and that means with a plus 3, that means we're going to shift up 3 units. So that's our transformation is up 3 units. That's g of x. G of x moves up 3 units. And to graph it, we need to just draw a quick t-chart off to the side. And here's our f of x. And here is x. And then we'll also make one for g of x. Okay. When x is 0, we have f of x, which is x cubed. So 0 times 0 times 0 is 0. And then if it is x cubed plus 3, we're going to have 0 times 0 times 0, that's all 0, and then plus 3. So we'll have the coordinate point 0, 0 for f of x, and the coordinate point 0, 3 for g of x. Let's do another one. Let's try negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. And then negative 1 cubed is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. We'll try one more, and then we'll have 1. 1 cubed is just 1. 1 cubed is 1 plus 3 is 4. So we can draw our f of x graph here at 0, 0, and then we'll draw a line at negative 1, negative 1, and then another one at positive 1, positive 1. The general shape is going to give you that S shape here. Now I do want to figure out where this graph is going to exit. So I'm actually going to extend my t-chart down to negative 2 and then positive 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, and then 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. Over here you have 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And then 8 plus 3 is 11. So now we have a few more coordinate points. Let's look at negative 2, negative 8. We'll go to negative 2, negative 8, and then positive 2, positive 8. And this will be our F graph. There we go. And then let's make our G graph. Our G graph will start at the coordinate point 0, 3. Let's go to 0, 3. We'll have a coordinate point at negative 1, 2. And then also a coordinate point at 1, 4. Then we have a coordinate point at negative 2, negative 5. And then another coordinate point at negative 2, 11. Positive 2, 11. So all the way off the graph at that point. And we know that it's going to be on the inside of that one. It's going to be on the outside of that one. Okay. Let's try another one. again we have x cubed, and now we have x minus 5. So again, over here I wrote my grouping. Over here it's already written for me, and I can see that this does not impact out here. It impacts the x variable on the inside. When we look at our coordinate plane on our axes, we're looking for an x movement. That's this x-axis, so we're shifting left and right, and we're going to use the opposite sign. So if we think, okay, -5, what they're actually asking us to do is go opposite. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So this will shift to the right 5 units, and that's what we write over here. G of x moves right 5 units. We can use the t-chart that we used from earlier. We've got our x, our f of x, which is just x cubed, and then our g of x, which is x minus 5 cubed. So we'll get x is 0, -1, 1, -2, and 2. Okay, so 0 cubed is 0, and we can copy all of these over. -1, 1, -8, and 8. Okay. So 0 minus 5. If x is 0, we're going to look for -5, and then fill all of this in. Another way you can think about it is if we just graph this f of x function, we have here at 0, 0, -1, -1, +1, +1, -2, -8, and then +2, +8, like that. We can draw our cubic, well, S-shaped function like that. And if we know that we're just going to shift right 5 units, then all we need to do is take all of these coordinate points and shift them right 5 units. So, for example, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The cubic will come out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shift that one over. And then here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's the new cubic. Cubic and a shortcut. And this works for us. We wouldn't actually have to write all of this out because there isn't any of the vertical stretches or horizontal stretches that we're going to see a little bit later on. Take a look down here, and it just says to describe the transformation, then graph each function on your calculator to verify your description is correct. Okay. So on this one, you have f of x equals x cubed, g of x equals -2x cubed. So we're going to rewrite g of x, and we're going to put in the grouping like that. So you can see right here, because this -2 is outside of the grouping, we can say that this is not impacting on the x, it's impacting on the y. So that means that g of x is has a vertical stretch, and it'll be a stretch because this number is bigger than 1. If this number was a fraction, this would not be a vertical stretch, it would be a vertical shrink. But because this number here is bigger than 1, this 2, then we're going to say it's a vertical stretch. Now let's deal with the negative sign. The negative sign, as always, if it's out in front, the negative sign is a reflection. So we're going to say, and a reflection. On the other one, they already put in our grouping for us, and we can tell that this is not a vertical stretch because it's next to the x. And x is not vertical, that's y. X, this axis is horizontal. So we have a horizontal shrink. And remember, everything inside of your parentheses is going to be opposite. So over here, it was a vertical stretch because the number was bigger than 1, and it would be a vertical shrink if it was a fraction. here, if it's inside, it's going to be a vertical shrink, but if it's a fraction, it will be a horizontal stretch. So it's backwards. I would recommend replaying the video a few times just to make sure you got the difference between these two. So g of x is a horizontal shrink, and then this negative 3, again, it's outside of the grouping, so it impacts the y side. So this is going to be a horizontal shrink and a shift down 3 units. Down 3 units. Very good. All right.